Hey everybody, Shav, Nobody Else's Auto. Something a little different, a little out of my wheelhouse tonight. Old Willys Jeep. Now I don't know much about these, and I know there's a lot of Jeep experts out there that know this stuff cold. What I think I have here is like a 49 to 53 era CJ3A or M38 is what I think it is. Made from roughly 1949 to 1953. That's what I think this one is. But I'm not sure. We'll take a look at it and see. But these Jeeps have a really interesting history. From what I found, obviously we know these were big in World War II. They were extremely important. And how did they come about? Well, actually, this was a military idea. They were built by several manufacturers, obviously Willys with the MB, Ford with the GPW, and also even American Bantam made some of these. The idea actually originated with the infantry. They needed a lower profile, powerful four-wheel drive vehicle. Obviously the big, tall deuce-and-a-half trucks were big and made really probably pretty good targets. So that's where the idea actually came from. The development came from both the military and civilian contractors to bring this concept to life and mass produce them. Obviously we know today Willys is well known for them. Even you can go buy a brand new Jeep that still says Willys on it if you order the Willys package on these newer Jeeps. However, it technically wasn't Willys back in the day. It was all these manufacturers and all these companies that had something to do with it. Willys actually tried to kind of take it over in the late 40s, and actually the FTC actually opened a case against Willys Overland, charging them with misrepresentation in their advertising and their news releases because it technically was not strictly a Willys product. They actually ruled against Willys and said that American Bantam is who technically had the most to do with it. Willys appealed, and 5 years later in the late 40s, once again the FTC agreed with American Bantam, saying they had more to do with it than Willys. Now, obviously today we know Willys as the Jeep manufacturer. However, what happened is even after the FTC ruled in favor of American Bantam, they went bankrupt in 1950, thereby opening the door for Willys to officially license the Jeep name. So, kind of weird. I didn't really know any of that until I started doing a little bit of research. And very interesting how all that played out with these particular vehicles. Obviously, they are extremely popular in today's world. They have a great following. And what happened with Willys with the MB is they basically, as soon as the war ended, obviously went into civilian production with these, with the CJ3A. Basically, the MB became the CJ3A with a few minor modifications, CJ standing for civilian Jeep. And that's how these came about. Now, with all the turmoil surrounding this back in the 40s, was there a patent on it? Yes, there was actually a patent on this design. And the patent was actually issued to the U.S. military, believe it or not. So that was kind of the weird part about it and some of the interesting stuff that I found. They actually issued a patent in 1942 to the U.S. military for this design. And it was kind of weird. I never knew any of that until I started researching it, that really Willys didn't actually have or quote unquote own the Jeep name or the Jeep design when it all started. But they ended up with it, and obviously today they're still cranking Jeeps out like crazy. They still have a massive following. They're great vehicles, and people love the new ones and they love the old ones like this one, which, like I said, I believe this is the 49 to 53 era CJ3 or M38 if it's military. There are some bits and pieces about this one that kind of lead me to believe that it might be a military one, but there again, I'm not a Jeep expert. Out of the 2,000 cars and trucks I've got here, this is the only early Jeep that I've ever had. So I'm sure some of you guys will be able to enlighten us on some of the more details about this one, but let's take a look at it. Obviously, a major modification here. This has a full roof on it. The entire roof is aluminum, which almost kind of makes you wonder, was it surplus aircraft parts? It could have been back in the day, who knows? Because it is about that size. Maybe even, it might be a little bit thicker for aircraft, I don't know. But this was all looks to be custom built. They actually welded some of it together, believe it or not, which is a trick in and of itself. Riveted a lot of it together. Built these windows into it. I mean, somebody put a lot of time and a lot of thought into building this hardtop for this Jeep. Obviously making it much more user-friendly, so to speak. Now over here, we've got what appears to be a step in here to get up, and the step up here. The seat frames are there, but they're rough. There's a little rust in the floors of this thing. It's been sitting around for a really long time. What leads me to believe, at least from my limited research, because like I said, I am by no means an expert on these, was I was looking at this windshield frame here, and that's what led me to believe that it's probably a CJ3. It had flat fenders with this style of windshield frame. There again, I have very limited Jeep knowledge, but that's what I could kind of put together from doing my research. Up around the front, got these cool tow hooks. Under the hood, just about as basic as you can get. Now, one interesting thing, this has been upgraded to an alternator instead of a generator. But other than that, it's pretty much your basic old 4-cylinder setup. Had some old lettering up under here. Not sure what all that read. It's all obviously been painted over, but there again, possibly could lead to some military history with this Jeep. I don't know. We've got these little lights here, the low output lights down here, obviously a military type thing. So like I said, I do see some traces of this, that maybe this is an M38 military, but there again, with my limited Jeep knowledge, can't tell you for sure. But over here on this side, we can take a peek in here. We can see the dashboard and the gauges. Obviously, that definitely looks military to me, but there again, once again, I'm no expert on this. We see all the levers still there. We do see one thing that has been modified right here in the dash. Somebody actually cut a chunk out of the dash so they could put this heater in there. And then, of course, one interesting feature that I did know to look for on these was the Jeep stamped right down in here on the front of the seat riser by the passenger seat. So, like I said, some really cool characteristics about this Jeep. And I don't know if this is a good project Jeep. I don't know if it's a good parts Jeep, but I know it does have bits and pieces on it. And it does appear to have a lot of original bits and pieces on it. And like I said, I'm thinking maybe it was originally a military version. But there again, I know you Jeep experts will know right off the top of your head. I'm pretty limited in my knowledge on these things. So, but we can move this passenger seat out of the way. And we still see the lid back here, over here on the storage area. And as we come around the back, tailgate is still intact. Has these weird little bumperettes. Somebody custom built a trailer hitch type setup for this Jeep. And in the back here, really it's not that rusty. It's obviously pretty plain and pretty crude, but that's kind of what these were, but it's not all rotted out. So, something a little different. Like I said, I don't know much about them, and I know a lot of you Jeep guys are going to know a lot more about this than I do, but I thought it was a neat piece. Like I said, one interesting thing about what I do is I never know what I'm going to get a call on next. And when I get something interesting like this Jeep, it's an opportunity for me to learn more about it, and also with a lot of your guys' help, I learn more from you guys as well. So like I said, something a little different, something out of my wheelhouse, but it's always fun to learn more about these old vehicles. That's part of what's fun about my job. That's a big reason why a lot of us are here on YouTube, and that's what makes it enjoyable. So if you've got any more questions about this Jeep or any of the other 2,000 cars and trucks we've got on the ground here at Nobody Else's Auto, just give me a call, 620-786-4428. Having that short conversation on the phone about your project or what you're looking for is critical. I need as much information as I can get from you to know what I'm looking for when I get out here to check it. Year, make, model, body style, pieces you need, all that stuff is super important. So texts, emails, none of that stuff is ever complete. So just give me a quick call, and that number is in the description part of this video, so we can have that conversation. If you like this stuff, you like old cars, trucks, memorabilia, toys, signs, gas and oil, be sure to check out the channel, Nobody's Show. That's all we do on here because that's really about all I know. But we have a lot of fun doing it. We do some cool live stuff too. So click that subscribe button and definitely click that notification button so you can start hanging out with us on here. Well, that's what we've got for tonight. Stay tuned. We've got a lot more cool stuff coming up. Have a lot of new cool inventory hitting the ground. You don't want to miss any of it. So we'll see you soon on the next video, and thanks for watching, everybody.